Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket.
But if you can make your client's money at the same time, it's advantageous to everyone, correct?
No.
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?
Alright, so hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, I wanted to talk about something that has been really dear to me. That's because I've got, after let's say more than 15 years, it seems like every time this comes to mind, I say 15 years, a lot of it comes from when I started the YouTube channel and when I pretty much started to talk to people, clients about investing and trading. So I still think in my mind that I've been doing this for 15 years, but in reality I've been doing it for a lot longer. And in my time as you know, whether it was when I was in the brokerage space, so when I was in the institutional framework, it doesn't really matter. What I do see a lot of, and the question that keeps coming up from everyone is it worth it to day trade, right? Is it worth being a day trader? Now, you know, it goes without saying, right? It goes without saying that, in my opinion, it is incredibly difficult to survive as a day trader. Now, and I know immediately some of you are going to be attacking me and say, well, I do it. I'm highly successful at it. You're probably going to turn around and say that my opinion about this stuff is just biased, right? Or you're going to say, well, maybe you can't do it. And I can assure you guys that if there was anything on this world that was tradable, I've probably traded it, and I've probably done it on every single time frame if it was possible to do it. And you know, again, lots of people have covered this topic on the channel. Now, the reason why, well, I say on the channel, have covered this topic across YouTube. The reason why I'm kind of bringing this now again is because I get a lot of questions around this from my own free community, right? Because again, I don't charge anybody to talk about trading or investment. Not really. You know, if you want to work with me and, you know, you want to kind of, you know, take up my time to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve when it comes to trading and investing, then yes, that's going to cost you. But outside of that, most of the information, so if you have the time to pass through the information that I've put out there, you know, on the YouTube channel, it's completely free. I have no doubt in my mind that you could be a very successful trader or investor. However, most people need a lot more direction, and they want things a little bit more packaged, and I can understand that, but it doesn't remove from the fact that most of what I do is free, right? It's 99% free. Right, so just to kind of you know, so to kind of iron that bit out, you know, me bringing this up is not me trying to sell you into any other idea, right? You are entirely free to do whatever it is you want to do and feel would work for you. But because I get the question a lot in terms of, is day trading worth it, I really wanted to address it, because I feel, right, that some of the people, I mean, if you're watching this video, it means that you've probably clicked on this because something has resonated with you, but you've probably clicked on a few of the other videos that are probably higher up on the YouTube ranking, and you've watched some of what these people have had to say. And for me, I think that they're not being entirely honest. about what this whole thing entails, they're creating a video for effect, or they're creating a video for a disclaimer, right? Because a lot of these people are influencers and they don't want to get hit with maybe a fine or something for promoting an idea that could eventually be construed as financial advice, right? So you all hear us say this is not financial advice. As I'm about to say to you now, this is not financial advice. But a lot of these people, their living depends on you believing a specific narrative, right? If you don't believe that narrative, some of these people are not going to be able to eat, and they have come a long way in terms of the influencer space. You know, they've come a long way in terms of building a network of people who absolutely believe in what they say. So I don't have a big following. I don't have a massive audience. My audience is relatively small to some of these guys, right? So there's going to be a choice in your hands in terms of who do you believe, right? In a decade, I might have the same following, and a lot of people are going to believe what I tell them. So I think that's a huge responsibility. So I think you have to be as truthful as you can be, without obviously compromising yourself or posing a direct challenge to other people or opening yourself up to attack on a consistent basis. I think though that you got to be like totally honest about what you're saying, and I think that just goes without, that should go without saying. It shouldn't be a question in one's mind. But sad to say, as I see all the conversations around day trading specifically, it's very disingenuous, right? So by that I mean, you're going to see a lot of people maybe posting day trade P&Ls. Now, for those of you who've been in my Discord server, I do post trades, but the one thing I stay away from doing is posting P&L, because it's not going to reflect the reality of what it is to be a trader and an investor. I just won't do it, because I think it's unfair. I'm creating an unnecessary buzz, and this could potentially destroy the lives of so many people. So I try and stay away from that. What I do, however, try and do, and you see this more and more in this YouTube channel, is I try and create awareness about how you could do what you enjoy doing. Because I don't think anybody should come to trading or investing with the idea that they're specifically just looking to make money. Now, yeah, you're gonna make money if you enjoy it and you have the time to spend doing it, and you can develop and you can grow. But investing is like a career, right? You have to enjoy it, and if you enjoy it, you're gonna spend the time, and you're probably gonna be successful. So I don't think anyone should come into it saying that, I just want to make money. And people who do, they're the ones who get sucked in to a lot of this marketing, this influencer marketing about things like day trading and everything else. So I want to talk about this now. I want to go a little bit more in depth. So bear with me, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You probably don't know me, but just look at a couple of my videos on the channel. You'll be able to get a very good picture of who I am. Now, day trading, some people, they have no other choice, right? They have this mindset. So this is what I call it's the 9 to 5 mindset, right? So they have the 9 to 5 mindset. They got the worker bee mindset, and it's no one's fault, right? From the moment you step into school, you have parents who've been to school. The general status quo is that you finish school, you go to university, get a degree, get a pretty good job, they can pay you, probably stable, and then you go from there. But we all know, right, that the world we live in is not a straight line like that, right? There's a lot of asymmetry. There are a lot of reasons why for some people that pathway isn't going to work. Could be a number of reasons, right? And I think we can all imagine why some people are just not going to have access to certain kind of opportunities. So that's the first thing. Secondly, some people do have access to opportunities, but it is soul crushing, right? What they do, whereas to the outside world, they might be able to smile and, you know, put up a bravado. They might have a nice house, they might have a nice car, they might have the white picket fence, they might have that picturesque look of the ideal family, whether that's a European or American family. You know, that image is what's being projected out. That's what people can see, but inside, they're probably dying one cell at a time, right? So they see something like trading and investing. They think, well, I want to replace my 9 to 5. So I want to be able to do trading 9 to 5, right? That's what they're saying. They're not saying that I want to become an investor. I want to take the money that I've got and I want to invest it, and I want to become a capitalist. That's not the idea. They're thinking, I want to replace my workably 9 to 5 that is soul crushing with a trading 9 to 5, which I feel I'm going to enjoy more, because guess what? I'm just sitting down doing nothing, clicking on a button, and I can make thousands and thousands of dollars, pounds, euros, whatever. That is not true, and that's the idea people have of day trading. The day traders sit in front of the computer every single day and they trade and they pull money out of the market because they're just absolute trading legends. And that's what you see the influencers trying to put out there. You know, they sit back. You know, it's one of the reasons why, I mean, this channel, I'm anonymous on this channel. It's one of the reasons, because I don't want anyone drawing that idea that, hey, you know, I'm just kicking back here and, you know, I'm just clicking away every day and just extracting money out of the market, right? For a lot of people, that's their idea of day trading, and that's why they want to get into it. And that is the totally wrong idea. It is the wrong idea. And some of these influencers take this idea and then they create a contrarian narrative. And there is a lot of dissonance here because they are actually sitting in front of their screens, and they've got all their screens and their thumbnails and all their thumbnail screens saying that this is what I'm doing and this is the life you can have, but with a disclaimer that says day trading isn't worth it, guys. I know it happened for me, but I'm the rare 1%, right? So it's marketing tactics, right? So there's this backward loop in your mind that tells you, well, if he could do it, I could do it, but I guess he just doesn't want to make this look very unrealistic, so he's kind of saying to you that it's going to be hard, and he's trying to, you know, discourage the vast majority of people who are not going to stay this out, because again, it just stems down the negative attacks that they might face when 90% of the people realize that this is not going to work for them. So in that context, or, you know, along those lines, day trading is not really worth it, right? Because of the way it's structured, right? It's just not worth it. Now, on the contrary, how can you trade? So how can you actually trade? Now, when we think about a day trade, it's not really, I mean, everyone has to take a position in the day, right? So if you took a position today and you came out of that position 2 or 3 weeks later, your initial position was a day trade. You executed the position within the day frame. However, you've held it over a period of time in order to achieve a higher potential profit target, which should be everyone's objective. Time shouldn't factor into trading behavior. So if I took a trade today and I thought, well, let's say, I know you guys love Forex. Let's say you're a Forex trader and you took a trade on the pound's trading 27.05, and let's say you thought it was going to go to 130 in the next couple of weeks, right? That's a higher profit potential. So you should be able to stay with your trade or your investment till that profit potential. You shouldn't really be looking to cut that based on an arbitrary idea that you're a day trader and you don't want to hold overnight inventory. Right? That, in other words, that's just a risk aversion. Right? It's not really associated with anything to do with trading. It's if you don't want to hold overnight inventory, what you're basically saying is you don't want overnight risk, and that means that you're slightly more risk averse than a trader who would acquire more risk in order to get a greater potential profit. Right? That's the idea. So the risk is not inherently in the idea of day trading, the risk is in the psychological state that I don't want to, that carrying risk overnight is dangerous, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. So that risk aversion is now acting as a forcing point, which is making you stay and become a day trader. So that's the first problem, right? So to avoid that, think of the market as a holistic place where you could come in and put in a position based on really good information and very good sound strategic thinking. Something I talk about on this channel and I show you how to do, so that you can stay away from that idea that I need to be a day trader. Now, there are a couple, the other day we were having a conversation. So if you can see my screen, let's zoom in here a little bit. This is a chart of, this is a Forex chart of cable, right? Now, we were talking about this, and I was saying to players that over 27.65, there's a lot of liquidity there. We're going to likely see a stop hunt. Now, I didn't say that, oh, I'm going to make an intraday trade and I'm going to cash out here. And that's the way to do it because I'm a day trader now. I said, look, we are going to get these stops going to get hunted. And if we do start to close back within the range, you want to get short. And that allows you to really define your risk and you want to aim for the next liquidity area. Now it took, I think about 2 days, right? So from when we observed the opportunity inside of the European session, 24th January, and we had our execution in the Nasdaq session, 24th January, the exit point was either the next day into Europe or the next evening at the FTSE close on the 25th of Jan. That position's already overnight, right? So that's overnight risk carried over. And if we didn't want to carry that overnight risk, we would have ended up cutting our position roughly about 27.23, which would have lowered our profit potential, right? So that goes back to just what I was explaining to you, that then I would be acting as if I have a forcing point. Now, for those of you who are solid professionals in this business and are listening to me, and you probably work with tools like Market Profile, you already know what I'm talking about, is that you don't want to create, the market creates forcing points naturally, right? Some traders don't have enough capital. Some traders have, risk parameters that are set by their overarching institutions. Some people trade in different kind of sandboxes. So there are various reasons why people come into the market and leave the market, or simply cannot stay in the market beyond a certain period of time. Lots and lots and lots of forcing points. So we want to try and eliminate forcing points, right? Reasons why that we're going to have to exit the market even if we didn't want to, and thus lower our profit potential. And one of these forcing points is our own psychology, the psychological barrier that allows us to take the market and segment it in such a way. Day trading, swing trading, for example, position trading, it's segmentation, right? We're all guilty of this to some degree. So I'm not an angel here, but the one thing as my growth has taught me over the years is to stop segmenting the market. And people will see the way I teach about investing and trading is I don't segment the market. I think it's an irrational thing to do, so don't do it. I'm interested in other concepts like volume. I'm interested in statistical benchmarks like standard deviations. You guys have seen me sell option premium, so I'm interested in volatility, right? So these things matter to me more than the concept of time. Time has a way of increasing these factors or decreasing them depending on the situation, right? So time tends to be that fuel that either inspires confidence to drive an asset in a specific direction, or it's a factor of demand, in that there's so much demand that it will take some length of time to fill all that demand, and it will take some length of time to sell. So time becomes the result of maybe excessive demand, for example. So the extension of time and price becomes a factor, right? So the real variable here is demand, right? So I think you all get where I'm coming from, and I think I really wanted to do this video so it's perfectly clear. Whilst if you want to day trade, you can day trade, but the chances that you're gonna find yourself in a lot of trouble doing that are very, very high, and that's because you're attempting to create an unnatural forcing point for yourself, right, without anybody intervening. So that's gonna leave you prone to cutting your position short. Some sandbox environments, for those of you guys who trade in MT4 and within broker dealers, you're in a sandbox. And those broker dealers can impose additional costs, right? Like swap charges that can prevent you from holding certain assets for excessively long periods of time without absorbing a huge amount of costs. I mean, back in the old days, I don't know if it's still quite the same, but back in the old days, when I was in dealer space, I mean, sometimes 40% of a trader's position can get eroded based on swaps, right? And it's insane, but people will naturally incur that cost in order to operate in that sandbox, because the sandbox is offering higher leverage, for example. It's offering things that are probably of zero use to a trader, right? If you think about it, right? I mean, and again, it's those forcing points. So if I just very quickly just pop over to a high beta, high volatility stock like Coinbase as an example. Right now, this thing, right, Coinbase as an asset can move several points in a week. Like, it could be crazy if we just let me just put this on a longer time frame here, right, just to kind of hammer the point home, right? I mean, Coinbase, let's just make sense of this here. So Coinbase in October last year was $73. It traded a high of $184 this year before backing up to $127. Now I'll let you guys do the maths of it. Let's say you put 10,000 USD, right? Not financial advice, right? I'm not saying you're gonna have to go out and do this, right? Just so we're clear. But let's say you put 10,000 USD, right, into Coinbase. I'll let you do the maths. In October last year, how much money would you have, right? Right, so for those of you guys who think leverage is the only way to trade, now that would be a zero leverage trade. Yet Coinbase will have to go to zero for you to lose all of your capital. So the risk of financial ruin is really low. And I'm assuming here that you got 10K, maybe you're not doing anything with. Now I know, right, for my time in the business, I've seen people boat 25K trading a leverage asset in an afternoon. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They think that they need to be day traders, and they don't need to be, right? So if we back up, right, just to make another example, right, normally my videos are about teaching, but this really, I get a lot of questions about this, so I figured that I needed to do a video. It was important that I did a video. Right, look at NVIDIA. So if we go back to December, right, of last year, Christmas, NVIDIA was trading at $454, right? Equates trading around 613, right? In fact, if we went all the way back, let's just pop onto a weekly chart, right? So if we went all the way back with the Fed craziness, right, $145. Like you can see, I still have marked out on my chart, right? $145 NVIDIA was trading. At one point, it was trading $111, and that was in December 2022. We are January 2024, so about a year, roughly a year and a bit, it's trading at $610. Now, if you had, right, quote unquote, between an $11,000 to $14,000 position in NVIDIA, today you have over 60K. Picture that for a second. Just get your head around that. So when you see someone pop up on a YouTube video, that could be me, that could be any influencer you're watching, just think about the fact that they could be doing what I've just described to you right now, But then on the other hand, they're telling you to day trade because that's how they're successful, because that's how they're going to entice you to watch their videos, to buy their courses, because it's boring if I told you that, well, the only thing you needed to do was go buy Nvidia, you make a ton of money. There are other stocks out there, it's not just Nvidia. I always say to beginners, if you want to get into trading and investing, start with stocks. Don't go to those symmetrical assets like Forex or gold or commodities, or even indices. Right? Go start with stocks. Right? You get a really good picture because one, there is leverage in the stock market. I mean, most brokers will at least extend a 1:4, and on the larger scale, right? So in the institutional level, you could easily be looking at a 1:10, 1:10, 1:20 leverage ratio. Some of the sandbox guys, they offer you up as much as 1:20, right? With a lot of costs. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna pay to be in here, but you have access, right? And you got the leverage, so you don't need as much capital, right? So anyone can operate in the stock market, right? Especially US-based stocks where you find all the volatility. The biggest excuse is I don't know what's going on in the stock market. I have no idea. Most people in the FX business are in countries that the United States is not allowing access to their financial assets, right? They've blocked them, so they just can't do it. I'm with Interactive Brokers, and if I'm not mistaken, they've got a ton of countries that they just won't do business with. So I can understand why people are driven towards leverage assets like Forex. I'm not saying that you can't make money trading Forex, you shouldn't trade it. I'm just simply saying that leverage shouldn't be your forcing point for you to become a day trader, or the existence of leverage shouldn't entice you just to want to day trade. You got to think about return. How much money do I want to make? Like, I sell premium every week and I make a steady income doing that. Whilst that's one of the simplest things an individual can do, but a lot of people don't have access. So that's a forcing point that is going to push people away from things that would make them money into things that don't. Anyway, guys, this video's been long enough. I hope you get the point, and I hope you get the idea. And my next videos will be back to learning, but I think it was important to talk about, is trading worth it? So again, think about it if you're new to this business, before you jump in and decide that you want to be a trader and you want to day trade. Just think about what I've just said, right? And if you can search yourself, you don't have to believe any of it, but just search yourself and say, well, could this be the reality? Could this be the fact? As opposed to what so many will tell you, that it's possible to do this sustainably over a long period of time. The truth of the matter is, it is not. Till my next video, guys. Adios.
Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket.
But if you can make your clients money at the same time, it's advantageous to everyone, correct?
No.
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?